Hey everybody, Andy here, helping you build a career you love. Got a great show for you today on moves to make in your job search for 2022. If you're here with me live, great to see you, great to have you. Get in the chat, say hi, let me know where you're from, put some question marks in front of your questions. If you're in any of my programs, let me know that so I can root you on, give you a shout out. And I love when you guys come to the shows. I really do. So I've got a lot to, let's say, unravel here, unpack, whatever you want to call it, on things that I think will really make your job search hum. And most of these are tried and true, but you especially need to do these now in 2022. Every year in December, I like to do a show like this. As a matter of fact, we're doing this live on a Wednesday. You might be watching it on a different day of the week, maybe a Tuesday, but I did this on the same day last year. Similar kind of an annual moves to make. It was a smash. I'm going to be doing them every year, and this is 2021 rolling into 2022. So what's today going to be about? Well, I'm going to break down some ways I want you to think about your job search, and we're going to use a little bit of the Socratic method on ourselves, but I'm going to teach you the questions to ask yourself as you get ready to go into the job search and along the way, and the things that you think about, and then the tact and how to prepare for some of the major steps, like getting yourself ready and self-aware, bringing yourself to market, and actually tips on interviewing. So we're going to hit all of that. There's a lot to roll through. So if you have been following this week, it's now on a Wednesday. On Sunday, I released a video on how to start your job search in the right place. I wrote you an email lesson. There was a video I put out on YouTube. On Monday, I had a networking video and some concepts on networking. And yesterday, I had some concepts on interviewing and also a video on how to ask questions to assess an employer's behavior. I hope you saw all that, because that's the pre-work for a lot of what we're going to go through today, but I'll drive more of that home. The other thing, if you have not grabbed this absolutely wonderful free, right there it says free guide that I put together many years ago, it's my 10 by 10 job search formula, because it's a great place to start. I address the 10 major aspects of a job search, and I want you to make sure that you are in order. You can do a job search diagnostic. You can actually see where you are, what the major mistakes are that people make, but also what my pro tips are. And I love it so much, and I want you to have it so much that I actually want to show you what's inside of it. Just because people, I work hard on these things. I want you to take them and benefit from them. But this is, I go through the different areas of self-assessment, investigation, marketing, pitching yourself, searching, networking, preparing, interviewing, continuing on the process, and negotiating. I also go through, based on each area, what the biggest mistakes are that people make and what the pro tips are. So make sure to grab this. It's free. You get the idea, but I want you to have it. It's a great place to see where you need to bolster pieces of your job search. Now, I want to get into the lesson. I got a bunch of note cards today because there is a lot to unpack, and I want to start with the first step that I think, I don't know, I know I talk a lot about self-awareness, and that I want you to be self-aware of what you want, and that's important, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I also want you to know, and I want to drive this home right out of the chute. Self-aware people, successful people, they plan to succeed. This may sound trite, but most people fail because they don't plan to succeed, or they don't do as well because they don't plan to succeed. And what are we talking about here? Well, when you think about your job search, and I know some of you are out there going, Andy, I just want a job, man. I just need to put food on the table. And I get it, okay? So I'm a practical person too. But I genuinely feel that you will have better results if you sincerely believe that you will succeed. This will work out. I will win, right? It will go right. I will have multiple job offers, right? I will need to choose from multiple job offers, right? Say it with me. Can I get you a hey in the chat? I will succeed. I will have to choose. I will get multiple job offers, and Socratic method to get your mind starting in the right place. And I'll talk about why we want to look at things this way. But think about this. I will need to choose. So when I do, what will I need to know when I choose? Do you ask yourself this? Do you ask yourself these kinds of questions so that you know where you want to go and what you need? Now, I don't know if you read my Out of Reach but Insight book, and I talk about we're going to get a lot farther in our lives based on the questions we ask ourselves rather than the answers we give ourselves. Okay, so I want you to just think about this. How many of you ask yourself questions like this as you get ready to plan? Give me a hey in the chat if you do. Yes, I ask myself these questions, but I'm guessing a lot of you don't. I'm guessing a lot of you don't even think about it like this, right? So what will I need to know? Now, you might be saying, well, Andy, hang on a second. How am I supposed to know what I need to know? Well, why don't we start with something I know all of you have, which is instinct, right? And maybe I want to give you an example from my executive recruiter life to get you thinking about what I mean. And it is a known fact, by the way, science has proven this, that even if you don't know the steps and mechanics and the things to do, if you know the destination you want to get to, you will get there. You will. And I had this client probably maybe this might be about 8 years ago. And awesome client, very large organization, one of the largest privately held companies in the world in the food and beverage industry. I had an HR business partner. That was her role, Erica. Fantastic client. And her job was to make sure that everybody in that IT unit that supported that organization at the headquarters, that she recruited right, they interviewed well, they hired the right people. Once they were hired, she worked with them on their career development plans and all that good stuff. Okay, she was designated. She was my counterpart. And they were having a rough time with recruitment. They enlisted our services. We built a great relationship. And she asked me, and she said, Andy, hey, would you come in and would you teach everybody how to interview? Because we're having a really tough time. I got to chase these guys down for feedback. I don't know that they know how to interview. I'm not sure how to teach them what they need to know. I said, hang on a second. Let's get you the biggest ROI for the buck right away. And short of me in the interviews, watching them and telling them what to say and what to ask and all that good stuff, this isn't going to work. But let me give you a little trick that you can get these guys moving in the right direction. I want you to sit down with everybody and just one time. It only takes one time. And I want you to tell each person and say to them, okay, we're going to put the interviewing team together. We got the candidates coming in, and I want you to know specifically what I'm going to ask you, meaning give them the test questions before they start. Not what questions to ask the job candidates. I want you to tell your interviewers, hey, team member A, I'm going to ask you when you interview a potential team member certain things. I need you to get the information so you could make this assessment, and I need you to tell me things like, would you want to work with this person? Would you want to learn from this person? Would you want to teach this person? Do you think this person could learn what you know about our products and our infrastructure in a reasonable amount of time? And so on and so forth. And I want you to tell me yes or no, and I want you to tell me why you think that. And all of a sudden, those people that didn't know how to interview got really good, really fast at getting what information they needed to know because they were on the hook with Erica to give her that answer when they were done. And she didn't have to chase them anymore. And they would come back to her with the list of yes and no, and here's why. Here's evidence of the fact. This is what leads me to believe this to be true. Okay, you need to do that for yourself. And when you think about some questions that you want to ask yourself, what will I need to know? But I want to talk about before I get into that a little bit more about, you can ask yourself questions, but they might be the wrong questions. So this is a mistake alert. The bad job searcher asks these questions. What's available? What will they ask me? what will I say? What can I do? What's available? What will they ask me? What will I say? Can I get a hey in the chat? Are we guilty of this? Right? Is this the approach that we take out into the world? But let me give you a different approach. A good job searcher, what do I want? Start there. Why don't you start there? What do I want? How can I make that happen? You might not know how to make that happen. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. Who could I target that might be able to help me make that happen? What can I ask them? How can I show my value to everybody that I talk to? And how knowing me might benefit them? This is a completely different mindset and a completely different focus. And what have I taught you about focus? And a whole bunch of other people have taught you about focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. What you focus on grows. What you're focused on is, I just need a job. I got news for you. It's going to take you a really long time if you ever get that job. If you focus on, what do I want? It'll happen. What do I want? But you have to figure out, how can I make that happen? Right? So think about that. What do we talk about? A lot of you have seen my video on my top 5 favorite questions to ask an employer in an interview. What's one of those questions? One of those questions that you guys all give back to me, right? You love the success question, don't you? And if you're not familiar with this video, my top 5 questions to ask in a job interview to ask the employer, one of those questions is, if you were to offer me this job and I was to take it, what exactly would success look like a year from now? What will I have done? Or anybody who takes this job, exactly what will they have done and accomplished that you would consider it a raging success? Right? You love that question. Why? Because they give you details and then you can assess, that sounds great. I think I can do that. They sound reasonable. I think those are good expectations on their part. Now I can show them how I would do that. Can I get a hey in the chat? How many of you do that with yourself as you start to job search? Do you ask yourself that question? Do you ask yourself these? What would a successful job search look like? What would a successful job offer look like? Have you thought about this? What would a successful job look like this? What would the right operating environment look like? Right? So where would you start this stuff? Right? These 4 here. Right? Where would you start that? Well, I gave you a video a couple days ago called How to Start Your Job Search in the Right Place. And I talked about the foundational viewing of what it is you want, the direction you want to go, the requirements that are important to you and how to assemble them. I gave you the top 15 or 20 or so specific requirements that I gathered from tens of thousands of hand-to-hand direct interviews with job candidates and what they cared about. So if you think about that, what have I talked to you about in this book, in interview intervention, right? What are some of the first words in this book? You're doing it backwards, right? Research yourself first and the company second, right? So I want you to think about that. Are you asking yourself these things? Okay, so what are the home run questions I want you to ask yourself? Am I pursuing the right job, the right company, the right career, whatever it is? What will help you do this? Gathering those requirements. What will help you gather the requirements? The interview intervention book, which I give you free. I will mail it to you anywhere in the world for $7. You get the ebook, the audio book, and you get bonus books too. And what else? Number 2, do I have the right and all questions to confirm my choice? So how are you going to know what questions to ask? Your questions are built based on your requirements. Your requirements are your criteria, the things that help you understand if you have the right operating environment. How are you going to get all of that? Watch that video, how to start your job search in the right place. If you want to grab this book while we're still under this package, because it ain't under this package for very long, $7, materials fee. I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. You get the ebook, the audiobook, and to help you with this guy right here, How do I come up with those questions? In this interview package, in this interview book package, I also have an ebook titled How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job. You won't run out of questions. You just need to align them to what matters to you. You need to plan to succeed. And if you don't think this is important, I'm going to tell you that I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people in my job search coaching program, what I call the boot camp. And I want to show you a message from somebody who was doing her annual reflection as part of my leadership program. Patty was doing her annual reflection as part of my leadership program, and we asked a number of questions, and she went into the system and she was contributing to the comments here, and she said, I'm most thankful for Andy's chart in lesson 1 of the boot camp, which allowed me to reprioritize and accept a different path. It's really important that you go through this process because it's going to help get you direction. It will. It will. And if you need additional help, if you are taking advantage of my free stuff, then I would start with how to start my job search in the right place. I would take a look at the 10 by 10 diagnostic. I would take a look at the intervention package because it's going to help you with what that criteria is, how to break it down, and it's also going to help you understand there's 39 great questions to ask an employer, but you'll also get that extra ebook, 75 great questions to ask. This will really get you started in the right place. All this stuff that I just mentioned is completely free. Now, if you are in my job search boot camp, there is a module in there that Patty referred to, Module 1. That's where you want to get started in the right place. Session 1 is on all the directional stuff. And in the entire module of Module 1, you also have a multi-pronged technique to head into the right path. I also give you some techniques, a 10-point technique to generate more job opportunities. And actually, if you're watching this with me live and you're in the job search bootcamp tomorrow, I'm actually teaching you a 10-point lesson on directional stuff. It is a absolute sensational work plan that I'm going to be giving to you that I have not taught before. But people who are not sure about their direction, people who are coming out of college, people who are changing their careers, and even if you're just changing companies, you will absolutely love it. So those are some additional assets. And then to round out point 1, I did mention Erica and how I was helping her help her interviewers interview better. If you are interested in the hiring prophecies, you can grab it on Amazon. But if you are in my leadership coaching program, so you leaders, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I want you guys to know what's free. This is, if you chip in a couple of bucks for this, you get a signed hardbound from me. I'll mail it to you anywhere in the world. And if you're not sure how to get this because it's a private access, email support@milewalk.com and we'll send you the book. All right, that's your warm up. I'm about to go all Andy on you now, but if you're enjoying this, can you click that little like button there? How's everybody doing? I know that was a good opener, huh? Yay, excited for tomorrow. Lighting. Wait, I'm just looking through the chat real quick because I want to take a sip of this tea. So if you have gotten the book package and you're having trouble with anything, email support. Okay, I want to just make sure before we kick on to part 2. Did I do my homework? Do I know what success looks like? Do I plan to succeed? Just make sure you're doing that. All right. Part 2. I'm going to put this on a t-shirt. I'm going to put this on a coffee mug. I'm going to make you posters and magnets and whatever I got to do. Are you feeding the funnel? If you do not know this Andyism, I'm going to show you the picture that this is really crazy. I'm going to show you the picture that I drew on December 15th, 2020. It was a Tuesday. And I was about to do my annual moves to make because we did it on December 16th last year. It's December 15th this year. Both happen to be a Wednesday. And if you don't know what the funnel is, this is the funnel, and I know I wave it around a lot because I've been waving it all year. I think per show, I got the biggest bang for the buck out of this card, and per activity, you're going to get the biggest bang out of the buck if you follow this concept, these principles. And what do I mean by feeding the funnel? All right. So, your job search activities, the moves you make in pursuing your job. Everything in life is a funnel. Okay, everything. It doesn't matter what you do. Everything's a funnel. Or I can make a funnel out of anything. 90% of the activities that you do should fall in this orange section up top. I don't know if you can see the orange. Resume send-outs. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on, I gotta keep sending my resume in 9 out of 10 hours? No. 90% of your time should be dedicated to finding a company to work for, finding people in that company, networking to get to people in that company, sending them an email or message or calling them or walking to their house or whatever to get them your resume. So all of those activities, ultimately with the goal of sending, not loading your resume, not loading, no applicant trashing systems, no ATSs, sending your resume to them falls in this bucket. So if you're working full-time on your job search, 40 hours a week, 36 of them should be spent doing what I just said, okay? Because that's the probability of you getting your next job. I want your effort to be aligned with the probabilities. So if you got a 90% chance of, when you piece all these and add all these things up, of getting your job, this is the way it's going to happen. Then what happens? You send your resume out. Then what happens? Then less people, not 100%, well, maybe some of you, get back, right? And you go into exchanges, 1%. What does that mean? Well, 1% of your time should be going back and forth with people. What does this mean? Well, Andy, I sent a boss hunting message. I sent a networking message to an old colleague. I sent a boss hunting message to somebody. They didn't get back to me. You agonizing. This is what you're doing, what a lot of you do. How much time should I wait before I follow up with them? What should I say to them when I send them a follow-up? I sent them 3 follow-ups. When should I quit? Hey, why are they not moving fast enough in the interview process? All of that stuff and all that anguish you go through, stop it, okay? 90% up here, and then they become an afterthought until they get back to you, okay? This is why I want you to keep feeding the funnel. What happens when you feed the funnel? You don't care if they get back to you, right? What is this akin to, and what's the greatest analogy for how to feed the funnel? A lot of you were with me last month, right, in the Job Search Challenge, that 5-day event that I had. But even if you missed it, some of you have it as a product. Some of you saw it live. If you missed it, I do have a video or two somewhere on my YouTube channel. You can go find it, okay? But this is what I mean. Back and forth, very little time. This is logistics. Hey, Mr. Recruiter Man, where should I show up? Where's the Zoom link? Where's your office? Great. See you then. That's it, okay? Then you're going to go into interviews. And then what's going to happen? What did I say? You're going to get multiple offers. What are you going to do? You're going to choose one of them, right? Okay, that's what I mean by the funnel, funneling down. 10%, maybe 9 to 10% of your time should be spent prepping for interviews, conducting your interviews, right? What does this also mean? When you get an interview on the line, so what? So keep going and interview, and you could squeal with glee and put effort into it, but 90% of your time. So if you're prepping for that interview for an hour, you should spend 9 more hours sending messages or finding people to send messages to while you're interviewing. You keep feeding the funnel. Why? So your blood pressure doesn't go up when that interview isn't going the way you hoped. When the recruiter isn't calling you back and they said they'd call you back this week and it's 3 weeks and you're wondering, how long should I wait? You don't care because you've got so many things going. What do I call them? Bitas, balls in the air, that you don't care if they get back to you. Right? Okay. So are you feeding the funnel? What's an analogy from my life? Let me give you an analogy from my life. So I got this thing, it's called the Job Search Coaching Program. It used to be called the Job Search Boot Camp. I put it up in 2017. You're all invited to come if you're not members already. When I initially put it up in December, actually December of 2017, is when we first sold it, I had spent the prior year and a lot of time building the product, right? It was a product. It was an initial product, version 1.0. I spent 90% of my time doing what? Building the damn thing. Then what happened? Then I hung the for sale sign. I'm open for business on this product. Ever since that time, that's 4 years now, I have spent 90% of my time doing what? Marketing it, right? And then I spend some time, like tomorrow, you're gonna get 3 awesome lessons tomorrow, right? And I continue to nurture it and service it, but I'm constantly looking for what? More people to share it with so that they could see it. If somebody comes across me and they don't care to buy, right? There's a whole bunch of you on this session and 3% of you will buy or something like that. Maybe some of you already did, but it is not my goal in life to spend a lot of time in here trying to convince you to buy the product, right? I'm looking for people who are interested in enrolling. And then once they get a sense of it, they might start asking me some questions. If they ask me questions, what are those? Buying signs. What do? I answer the questions, right? Just like you in an interview. But what do I not do? I don't keep chasing them and saying, do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Where are you? I answered all those questions. What else don't I do? I don't answer the same question twice. Okay, so you want to go back and forth with me, what do? You got a new question? Wonderful, I'll answer that. For as long as it takes you to get comfortable. Those are buying signals. That's different. You need to be able to differentiate this. Your buying signals are all done in the interviewing. Okay, so keep this in mind. The world is abundant. There are employers out there that are falling all over themselves, that would fall all over themselves to get you to work there. Your problem isn't that you're not good enough. Your problem is you're not spending enough time looking for them. Okay, so take a page out of my book. Do it. Feed the funnel. Okay, so what are the questions that I want to ask you about the funnel? I want you to ask yourself, am I spending enough time generating new leads? Right? Are you feeding the funnel enough? What else don't I want you to do? I want you to make sure you're not doing this. Am I wasting time and energy in follow-ups and in the applicant trashing system? Bad, bad, bad. Wait, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with prudent follow-ups. But the salesperson who keeps emailing me about whether I want to try their app or do a collab with them that sent me the 4th email, even the 2nd email, I'm never going to get back to them. And no amount of pokes at me are going to make me move faster at all. And if anything, it's going to turn me off. Okay? So keep that in mind. So number two, make sure you're feeding the funnel. And if you're in my job search coaching program, you have a picture of the funnel in the Boss Hunting Bible, among other places. Okay, that is number 2. All right, I just want to make sure I got my cards here in order. What's next? Number 3. Actually, wait, before I go to number 2, I want to show you a few people that I just absolutely enjoyed getting these the other day. If you don't think this works, and if you're wondering whether it works, this is Rachel. I just sent 3 boss hunting letters today for the target companies. I wanted to network people here in Germany. Messages were sent today, got 2 responses on the same day. Isn't it crazy? This is the kind of stuff that happens when you feed the funnel. I've got another one. Salma, I think, sent me this yesterday. I think I got this, or maybe it was the day before. I have a few updates. She and I talked a couple of weeks ago. Your boss hunting tips are awesome. I have sent out 5 emails, top 5 companies. I have 3 interviews. That's amazing. So this is a testament for why I want you to feed the funnel. Nothing can happen if you're sitting behind the desk doing nothing. Rarely anything will happen if all you're doing is sitting in front of the computer screen, putting your resume into the applicant tracking system. Serendipity will happen. Possibilities will happen if you are out and in motion and sending those things out into the world. Please, please, I could go all day with messages like this from the system or in my email inbox of people that were reluctant. I get people saying, oh, this sounds like false flattery, this sounds like this and that. It's total nonsense, okay? I've got entirely too much evidence to prove that this stuff works, all right? So I hope you take that to heart. All right, I'm gonna go to number 3. Do I have my sales pitches down stone? I mean icy cold. What are my sales pitches? Your sales pitches are your sales stories. Those are also known as your interview responses. So when you get asked a question, do you have your responses down? Now, I want to talk with you about what responses I want you to have down. All right, now, if you grab this book, you get my storytelling formula. In the storytelling formula, I give you the components of what makes you likable, believable, and memorable. So how you say what you say, all right? And it talks about the different things I want you to keep in mind, you know, keeping it short and simple, talking in their language, making yourself believable using details, the organization to the story, things of that nature. It's all in here, okay? But I want you to know what stories you need to tell. There's different kind of stories, and in general, we're talking about in general, we're not talking about your hard skills yet. There's the foundational, what I call 5+, okay? The foundational 5. If you know these 5 plus the bonus, you're golden. First thing you need to do when you need to figure out the stories is, what are the foundational 5? And why the foundational 5? Andy, executive recruiter here, who's hired zillions of people, can tell you that based on these 5 to 6 things, I will know immediately whether I'm going to hire somebody and if they're going to work out long term. Now, this might be an oversimplification. However, if you have the foundational 5, you probably have 500 stories you can tell, offshoots of these things, okay? So let's just run through them real quick. Passion. What are you passionate about? If you're not passionate about what I do, forget it. I'm not hiring you. I don't care how awesome you are. Okay? So when you talk about your passion, what's important to you, what matters to you, what are you really interested in, any of that stuff is code for what's your passion. If you cannot adapt your passion to what I do, I'm not hiring you. Let me give you a story. So when you think about like the people that I would hire for Mile Walk, your passion needs to be about helping people. It doesn't need to be about being an influencer. It doesn't need to be about social media. It doesn't need to be about building IT, technical training products or this or that. Okay, it needs to be about changing someone's life. And if you can show me, back it up with evidence that that's truly what you feel, that's great. I could teach you the rest. I could teach you how to post on social media, all right? I can teach you stuff. But what I can't teach is for you to care. I can't. So I need to know you come with care, okay? If you don't, I don't, there's no way you're gonna work. All right, number 2, how do you solve problems? So you gotta have some analytical abilities. Now, the problem story to tell me, the closer you can get to how you solved the problem, that is some problem I have that I would need you to solve, the better your story is going to resonate. So now, if you come to me and you say, well, Andy, I already solved the problem of how you can get more exposure to individuals who might enroll in your product, I'd say, tell me how you solved that problem. And then you walk me through it. I'm not going to say, tell me about a problem you solved. But if I'm dumb enough to ask you that, then you better be smart enough to know that you make it a problem that matters to me. How do you know if it matters to me? You should have done your homework on the company and what they do and the problems they're likely to have. The more alignment, the better. What value do you bring? Same kind of thing. I can help you increase your revenue. I can help you get more followers on social media faster for no cost, without advertisements, whatever, right? Like, what value do you bring? Now, if you're not sure about value, there's a video somewhere out on my YouTube channel about 8 great ways to prove your value to an employer. Go check that out. All right, development of people. I don't care I don't care if you're 21 and a half years old and you're just getting out of college. How do you shape the people around you? You senior exec? How do you motivate and manage your folks? You're just an individual contributor? How do you influence your customers, your teammates, your whatever? How do you develop people? What do you do? How do you serve customers? Number 5, you all have customers. They might not pay for products or services at your organization, but you serve them. I serve you. Some of you pay and I serve you, and some of you don't pay and I serve you. My community, your community, could be your team, could be your internal customer, right? Could be your networking group. How do you serve? You better serve. We all serve. Okay? And then mistake. How'd you respond? What'd you do? Tell me about a mistake that shaped your life. Okay? I don't really care that you made a mistake, because you should be able to think of one. If I probably will ask you in an interview, what mistake did you make yesterday? How about the day before? You got these, all right? I want to see what you did with your mistake. I got one of my today's line to live by quotes out there. The difference between good and great is what you did with your mistake. Okay, so think about that. Employers know you made mistakes. I have a video out there too about, hey, tell me about a time when, your greatest failure. All that stuff falls under here, okay, mistake. It isn't that if you don't make mistakes, you ain't doing anything, right? Okay, so these are the foundational 5+, really the foundational 6. You gotta have these. You gotta have them, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is, do you have the popular questions down cold? Okay. What are the popular questions? Well, there's a lot of popular questions. But again, if you would please take the free book offer, in here, there's a chapter. It's called my Silver Bullet Interview Chapter. It's got the 14 most effective job interview questions that an employer can ask you to get about 90% of what they need to know about you. Now, they can mix and match across the foundational 5, but the questions come in different forms. But there's 14 base questions, and inside the chapter, I teach you what the 14 are. I teach you 43 variations of that. So it's really 43. I teach you why they're asked, what the employer is looking for, and the very best response to each of them, and how to package them. Okay, so those are the popular ones. Why did you leave your current company? Why are you open to leaving? Why do you want to come here? What value can you bring? Right, that kind of stuff. But going through, they get deeper. But you get it. So are you ready here? And then, what's the other kind of questions? Do I have my outlines for situational questions? What's a situational question? A situational question is just like it sounds. I have this situation. It's a scenario. It's in the future. I have this customer. She's a pain in my butt. She's always complaining about this. What would you do? That's a situation. Or I would like you to tell me how you're going to build out my sales team, because you're the VP of sales I'm looking to recruit, and I want to know how you're going to build out that team. You're the IT project manager that I want to hire to run my customer relationship management new system implementation. Can you walk me through how you would do that? Every one of these situational questions, generally speaking, and I'm notwithstanding the absolutely epically stupid, what superhero do you want to be when you grow up? What was your favorite board game as a kid? These kind of ridiculous questions. Forget those for a second. Most situational questions, if employers know what they're doing and the interviewer knows what they're doing, they'll ask you a situational question about your bread and butter skill. I'm hiring you to build the sales team. I'm hiring you to sell the widgets. I'm hiring you to implement the system, right? I'm hiring you to market the product. How would you do that? Those are the most common situational questions. Now, what's the outline? Well, for everything that you do in your life, you want to have a playbook, right? You do have a playbook. You might not call it a playbook. You have a framework. You have a methodology. How about that? Fancy, right? You might not have reverse engineered or taken it out of what you do. That you meet with the stakeholders, you figure out what the business problem is, you design the solution, right? You architect it, right? Then you code it and develop it. Then you unit test it. Then you integration and QA test it, and so on. Then you implement, then you convert, and so on, right? So that's a framework. When you build out a sales team, what do? Well, first thing is you need to understand your customers. I need to do the segmentation because I need to know who's where. I need to see who's buying what. I need to see where the opportunity spots are. Where the spots are, we ought to throw in the towel. I need to get the lay of the land. And based on that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire people in those locations where we have the biggest customers, where we are untapped, but we know the market is rich. Then what am I going to do? Right? Boom, 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 boom. Everything has a step-by-step procedure. And why do you want to have this? Well, there's many reasons. Number one, these outlines serve as what? Your outline as you walk them through. It serves as the first thing you're going to tell them. There's 7 things I'm going to do when I build out the team. I'm going to segment the customers. I'm going to look for this. I'm going to do that. Blah, 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 right? Now they have what? An image in their head, a map of where you're going with your story. It sounds organized, and you've told them I have a playbook. What do employers do? They pay more for people who have playbooks. They pay less for people that can only do one thing. All right, so that's the same thing for you. You as a buyer, you as a customer. You will pay for something that is what? Has a method, a structure, a system. Your outline is the way for you not only to demonstrate that, but to easily remember whether you're recalling something that they said, how did you implement that project? Or how would you do that project? That outline works for even a how-to, what you already did, or how you would do in the future. So you want to make sure that you have that. So what are you really looking for? You're looking to have the foundational 5 or 6. Want to make sure you got those stories. You want to have the popular ones down, right? I give you those. And then whatever it is, your bread and butter that you do, you want to make sure that you have your outline and you can recall stories of things in projects past, as well as how you would do things in the future. If they ask you situational questions or they've got case studies or whiteboarding or whatever in the interview process. All right. Now, just to recap this really quickly. Let's go through. I'm going to give you 1, 2, and 3, and then some of the places I would go. So make sure you're doing your upfront stuff. Successful people plan to succeed. Say it with me, right? It's going to go right. I'm going to get multiple offers. I'm going to need to choose. When I need to choose, what do I need to know? Make sure this is in order. Make sure you're feeding the funnel. Don't stop. Don't stop until you're inked on the bottom. I mean, it's like signed on the bottom line. All right, and then making sure that you got all these guys, okay? All your interviewing style of questions. Make sure you grab this guy, okay? It's free. Make sure you grab this guy. It's just a few bucks. And if you want to get this on your own, great. If you're in my leadership coaching program, you're the only ones that have access to these signed hardbounds, plus the digitals and the audios and those other things too. So grab the hiring prophecies too. And I think that'll get you set for 2022. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to share this. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Please click that you liked it. And if you're here with me live, I'm going to go into the Q&A. If you are watching this on the recording, lots of luck in your search and in life in 2022. All right, so if you are here, I got a few announcements that I want to make because I want you guys to know what's coming. So I've got a boot camp session tomorrow. That's for the people in the coaching program. The program is on special for $100 off till 11 o'clock tomorrow, my time. We have a session. In that session, I'm teaching 3 things, and I'm doing a ton of Q&A. I'm teaching you, if you're interviewing, I coach a lot of people who interview with the FANG companies. If you don't know who those are, it's like, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, and so on. But I got a lot of Apple, Facebook, Google people. and it's confusing for some of them on how to get off on the right foot as you enter into those interviewing processes. I'm going to talk to you about that tomorrow and what you need to know and what you need to do. I'm also going to talk with you about ways you can assess an employer's behavior as it relates to accountability. It's really good stuff. And the big piece for tomorrow is I'm giving you a 10-step formula for how to get directed. Like I said, for those individuals who are just not sure where to go in their career or not sure the best routes to get to the right job, the fastest to get on the trajectory they want. What is it that I would do in terms of how would I break down the steps so that I had and I mean this in a good way, a myopic enough view in each step so that I was not overwhelmed and I had a scheme to follow. And a lot of these key teachings come from interactions that I have with my one-on-one coaching clients and things that I review with them. And I know these will be valuable to you. So if you are in the boot camp, we call it the Job Search Coaching Program. It used to be called the boot camp. It is tomorrow. You can get in for a special price. You are in for life. You get online support for life. You can come to the group coaching sessions, which we had more than a couple of dozen this year, so there's plenty of live interaction with me, and it's a great community. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. I'm not going to show you the program. I've been sending you messages throughout the week. If you got any questions, you're welcome to email me at support@milewalk.com. It's the last coaching session we're having for the year. Speaking of last of the year, this is my last live show for the year, so I want to let you know what's coming up in January. We've got on January 6th, which is going to be my regular Thursday session, I'm going to be talking about, you know, that ridiculous question about where you see yourself in 5 years and you wonder how to answer it in an interview. I'm actually going to teach you how to do that, but I'm not just going to give you that. I could tell you that in like 2 minutes. I'm going to give you why it's such an important thing for you to think. It's a terrible interview question, but it's important for you to understand where you're going. And I'm going to give you some secrets, some ways of thinking about how do I get directed and what kind of plan do I want to put together. That's on Thursday the 6th. And then the one I'm really geeked up about is the following Thursday, the 13th. I'm actually going to be introducing, I'm gonna name it, but for right now, the working title, right, LaCivita's Leadership Skill Building Pyramid. This thing is a pyramid of sorts, and I get a lot of questions, Andy, what skills should I work on if I want to grow? Well, certain skills should be worked on first because number one, they take the longest to build, you get the greatest ROI, there's the most compounding effect, and they need the most maintenance. And that's foundational. And then you go into another tier where you start honing different skills, but they're skills that require you when you're are great for you to have when you're interacting with others. And anyway, so we're going to go up the pyramid. The great thing is I'm going to do a little bit for free on Thursday, and then on Friday, January 14th, the leadership group. For those of you that are leaders with me, we're gonna break it down for you. I'm going to talk about the pyramid in detail. I think you're really going to like it. It is going to be very, very sweet. I have not seen anything like it anywhere. Yes, there are skills pyramids, but not this kind, not this one. So it's going to be something that we continually build on. No pun intended. In the leadership program. So that's going to be really, really cool. And you can make your life easy by signing up for the Mile Walk Academy calendar. All you do is you just click a thing, you go to a feed, and you can sync it with your Gmail, your Outlook, your Apple iCal, whatever calendar your choice of calendar is. And then I believe late in January, I'm doing a job search mini camp. That'll be a multi-day in a row. It'll be a multi-day in a row, kind of a similar like the job search challenge, but not quite as long. And it'll be touching on different aspects of the search, kind of like I did today. Okay, I am taking questions. I thought I'd be right around 45 minutes with all that. So good. All right, will you mention the replays within the boot camp? Roma, will tomorrow's coaching be available after? Yes. So Roma, welcome to the boot camp, and everybody else who got in the boot camp within the last month and who's sent me their story, right? You get an email that says, please share with me. I am proud to say that I spent a lot of time Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and yesterday reading everybody's story and responding to every single one of you. Hundreds of you that I responded to in the last 4 days because I read your stories. So Roma, and I believe yours was in there. And yes, everything I do in the boot camp is recorded for you. So if you miss it, you can't make it, I'm like a human Xerox machine. So you get the recording. All right, what do we got here? Wait, Emily, I just happened to see you. Great to see you again. I love your leadership program, the best thing ever. I am connecting today to hear you in live, needed it. Oh, I love talking with you I guess a week ago, or certainly not long ago. That was so awesome. And those things you were asking us about in the support queue, you should get those. You really should. At least one of the two of those. All right. Ariel Jonas, boot camper here. Yes, you are. Looking forward to the live content. It's awesome. PSA, sign up for Andy's boot camp. Come to me. The universe will know you're serious, that you invested in yourself. Malika, great to see you. My all-around awesome person in my boot camp and leadership program. Always, you could do a session. All right. And Geraldine, my boot camper from Zurich. Loved it that you jumped in. And Oscar, my leader. Great to see you. Susan Kelly, Raphael, Rachel. Oh, Rachel, we popped you up earlier. John Whitworth. Great to see you guys. Claude, how are you? I just responded to you, I believe. Denisha, great to meet you last week. Mohit, Cecilia, oh, from the other side of the pond. And Paulette, and Daniel, and Kendra, and Steve. Oh my God, you guys are great. And TD, what's up, Maria? Oh, look at Ed Lampert. Where you been, buddy? Hope ball's going with you. Let's see, I think this is a question. If I know I don't want a job, is it better to send a rejection email during the interview process, or is it better to wait for their decision? Okay, this is a fantastic question. She's a boot camper, so she knows her stuff. Okay, folks, couple things. This is a really good question because we get in these situations where it's like, well, geez, I really don't like that role, or I really didn't like that person. Okay, a couple things just to kind of sort through this. When you get into an interviewing process, the question you need to ask yourself isn't, do I want this job? It's not. The question you need to ask yourself, all right, back to questions, is, do I want to work for this company? If the answer to that is yes, because you like the company, even if you don't like the role, you go the distance, okay? Because you want them to fall in love with you, and if they give you an offer and you don't want to take it, you can say to them, I love you. I love the company. I love everybody I met. This role might not be the best one for me at the moment because I'm interested in, okay, something like that. Are there opportunities in your organization where I might be able to help in that kind of capacity? And if they say something like, Cecilia, well, is there a particular job you want? If there's a particular job that's open, meaning I can see on your site that there's something called this with these roles. Something like that, don't say that, something like that would be of interest because, highlight why. If there's not a job opening, you say, it's not a particular title that I'm interested in or a particular job function. I want to work in a capacity where I could add value this way. These words it's incredibly important that you get the rhetoric down. Why do you want to say that? I want to work in a capacity where I can add value, so. Why? Because the moment you say, I want to be if they don't have you're out. Okay? You don't want them to do that. You want to communicate to them the characteristics or the responsibilities of what's important to you and the capacity that you want to act in. What might this be good in doing? Not to get ahead of myself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself as a CIO. You're out, right? Or whatever. I see myself in a capacity where I'd like to be able to influence an organization's profits through the use of technology by, right? Blah, blah, blah. you're in. One, you don't have an opportunity. One, you do have an opportunity. So you got to think about this. So I know she asked me, is it better to send? Well, first off, you don't send a rejection email unless they reject you. You communicate verbally. If you are not interested, you need to be really clear, and it needs to be a dialogue, not an email. And why? Because you need to be able to explain to them, and you need them in real time going back and forth with you for clarification, so that you can explain, and there's absolutely no way they're going to get your gist, your sentiment, and everything that you could possibly want to share about what you're looking for in an email. So, do you go the distance? If you want to work for the company, you do. If you do have no interest in working for that company, you don't. Then just bug out. You're like, hey, but I will caution you that it is better, if you're going to eject yourself from the process or make any decision of any kind, that you have enough information to know you are absolutely certain that this is what you don't want or do want. Okay? So that's my thought on that. That is a really rich topic there. And we probably ought to do a whole show on that. Stacy, maybe let's add that to the list, because this is a tricky one. If I want to go the distance, but really, when is the right time to bug out? Okay, so that's a great question. Great to see you again, Snowman. Do you know? You want to laugh? I was getting dressed today, and I had a shirt to go over this, like a button down, and I was like, I let the dogs out into the dog run. I'm like, it's 65 degrees out. It's warm in my house too. I'll put shirt on. So that's it. I'm half dressed for you guys, but at least I'm covered. Lori Stevens, hey to you. N class. Aloha. Everyone live from Georgia. Wonderful. Jonathan Sewell. Great reading your story there, buddy. Baby girl, what's up? Susan Kelly, this is always what I need. I just love this stuff. It always makes me feel better. And I was happy to come on a Wednesday because I didn't want to wait till Thursday, but tomorrow I get to spend it with my boot campers. Got any questions about the program? You let me know. All right. Raphael, interview question I had and wasn't sure how to answer. As a remote manager, how do you keep your team engaged and connected? Okay. So this is a great question, because anytime they ask you how do you, the important thing is for you to share your philosophy here, because what I would say is, to me, it's my experience that it isn't about the distance between you that determines connection, the geographical distance, the physical distance. Right? You could be standing, can I get a hey? You could be standing in the same room with somebody and feel totally alone. And you could be, right, millions of miles apart and be totally connected. Right? You figure out how you want to say this. Wait, just because you're in the same room with somebody doesn't mean you're connected. And just because there's a distance doesn't mean, right, you can be connected. Knowing this, if this is a remote job, some best practices for keeping the team connected are, and then list. Okay, so it's about communication. It is, real time. If it's not inefficient, like a Slack channel, whatever, and making sure that, right, they understand accessible hours, things like that, when I'm highly available, and so on. There's communication, enough group dynamics, meetings, status, making sure everybody's got their marching orders, and so on. And then there's the one-on-one contact, and so on. And you just go through it. And then whenever somebody needs a little bit more attention, right, you go through the process. So when I give you a how-to, think about any time you watch me. What do I want you to do? Why do I want you to do it? What mistake don't I want you to make? How to avoid it, right? You always get those, and sometimes it's some sequence, sometimes it's different sequences. But you always want to include that. So then you want to talk about how you're getting engaged and what you're doing and so on. You got this, man. Lena, my boot camper, how are you? And Kendra, yes, the 10 by 10 job search formula is awesome. Yes, Kendra, you are a boot camper. And folks, please grab this. It's free. I don't get why. You know what? People would rather take a resume template This is worth 1,000 resume templates. I'm telling you, believe me. Get it, grab it, go. Daryl, how are you, my boot camper? And Malika, what do you got a question for me here? What do you think about the video in the LinkedIn profile? Nice to add. Finish some of your boot camper materials and starting the goal setting and resume writing today. Malika, I love the video on the LinkedIn profile. Don't overly sweat it and go watch Asla's, who I just love. It's like the warmest and friendly, and I would just want to hire her right instantly from her video. So Asla is your fellow boot camper, and if you want to get connected with her and you're not sure who she is, her name is spelled A-S-L-I, and she's in Europe, and it shouldn't be too tough to locate her. L.A. Julie, what's happening? And there's Stacy Notes giving us the recap. Can we get a shout out for my team? Stacy keeping you up to date on what Andy says, and Kara making sure that I'm sure that everything is, the lights are on and everybody's getting what they need. Can I get a clap and a shout out? All right, Paulette Scott. Wow, never thought about it that way. You got to plan to succeed. Think about this. Wait, I know this isn't a question, but let me drive this home. Everything that you do in your life, no matter what you do, is about what problem am I trying to create for myself and what am I going to do when I get there? And if it's easier to illustrate that in an example, I worked really hard to create a program and I want you to get in. And at first, it was about creating the good product, except the problem I was working toward was what? Marketing it. Once I market it, what's the problem I'm working toward? Selling it. Once I sell it, what problem am I working toward? How am I going to service it when everybody wants me to answer their questions every day? And there's 1,000 of them asking me a question every day, and there's 10,000 people in the program, or 50,000 or 100,000. What am I going to do? So I'm trying to solve that in advance because what? There's going to be 100,000 people in it, right? So what do I have to do? I have to plan for that because businesses fail because they grow too fast, right? Isn't that weird? Okay, you could be successful early in surfacing job interviews in your search, but not be ready with your stories, not be ready with your congruence. Did you actually target the right kind of company? Take the interview. Does your resume actually align to what you want and sell you appropriately? And then are your interview stories congruent? And are you gonna, is all that set? Are you ready to go? Because once you hit the send button, don't think for 1 second that once you hit the send button, it ain't gonna work. It's gonna work. When this person, my first boss hunting letter that I send on a Monday, you better be ready for a response. That's planning to succeed. Thinking, oh, it'll never happen. What? Maybe it won't happen, but when it does, either way, you're screwed, right? Either it didn't happen and because you thought and you're sending bad juju out into the universe, or B, it comes through and you ain't ready. Either which way, you're screwed. So get ready. You're going to win. That's right, Daniel, you will. Claude, you will. All right, now we're getting into it. I love it. I will have to choose between different job offers. That's right. Geraldine, you're gonna have them. The opportunities are gonna be there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, what do we got here? Cornelia, great to see you. And Deb, TC, Tarenia. Hey, it's so great to see you. All right, Lena Diaz, what do we got? What should I answer to the invitation to connect on LinkedIn from a person who you check but decided to boss hunt another person in that company? Oh my God, I love this. Lena, I have never been asked this question. Stacy, can I get a confirmation? I have never been asked this question. Do you know how hard that, do you see the smile? My cheeks hurt right now because I love it when I get a question I've never been asked before. I love all your questions, but I especially love questions I've never been asked before. Oh, I just need a moment. I'm so happy. All right, wait, this is really good. So she got a connection request. Right, but she wanted to boss hunt somebody else. So maybe she's okay, so what is happening here? Lena, I'm guessing Lena's looking on LinkedIn and she's checking out profiles. Now, the first thing I would say is, Lena, you probably want to put yourself in private mode, meaning you don't want them to see that you looked at their profile. So it might just say somebody from so-and-so looked at your profile. So I don't want people to know I'm looking at their profile. That's the first thing. That's okay. But we got to this place and somebody sent you a connection request. I would connect and I would immediately have a conversation with them. Thank you so much for sending me a connection request. I noticed you work at company XYZ. I'm actually job searching, and it's a company that is one I'm looking to apply to. I was doing my research, and I'm wondering if you'd share with me how you like working, and depending on who the person is. Now, this person could be a teammate, in which case I've given you scripts for that. If the person is a potential boss, you can ask them, how do you like working there? And are there openings on your team or others? Like something like that. Just get the dialogue going, because you do have a live one now, if they respond. Now, my guess is there's some interest. By the way, I don't love the whole send the connection request unless there's first off, I don't even like sending connection requests unless there's some permission. And then if I do send a connection request, normally I don't send them just outright. I'll send them to my boot campers or whatever as I'm reading your stories and things like that. But I would say something to you and have a certain degree of comfort that you will accept. Now, that person sent you one, but unless they get, it's kind of weird to say, hey, I saw you checking me out or looking at my profile. Here's a connection request. But I don't really care. All I care about is you. So if you accept it and then have a dialogue, you can go back and forth. I wouldn't do the reverse. I wouldn't send them a connection. I would send them an in-mail or an email, but in your case, I would actually just start having a dialogue. And then remember, the longer term you think, the better short-term moves you'll make. What do I mean in this case? Well, it doesn't have to be like, hey, do you have an open position? Can I come work for you? You could say that if you want to, but you just want to have a dialogue and say, hey, thank you so much for your connection request. You could even say, I happened to stumble across your profile the other day. You could say that. I happened to stumble across your profile the other day because I'm researching organizations, and I was quite, you look like you work for a great company, or such and such looks like a great company to work for. I noticed your profile, and I'm doing my homework, and I was really pleased to see that you sent me a connection request. While I have you, right? You didn't say it, but I'd love to get your insight into how you enjoy working there. If you know any openings that or possibilities of working in this capacity, in this value, in these areas, or whatever, right? Something like that. It doesn't have to be a long email. As a matter of fact, the less you say, the better. See if they respond. Then go from there. That's what I would do, right? So you elongate, right? The victory doesn't have to happen in one step, and the moves will be better. That's awesome. Man, I'm just tickled pink. Can we send her something? We got to send her she's already in the boot camp. You know what, Lena, I'm going to send you some swag or something, or we'll do something for you. That's just awesome. Steve Babin, what's up? Boot camper, I'm looking for remote work role, and many folk require vaccines these days. I had COVID but am unvaccinated. Is it worth applying? I know things could change someday, hopefully. Let me give you my thoughts on this. Number one, let me just say to any of you, so you never take anything I say related to the vaccine the wrong way. I want you to do whatever you want. It's your body. You get to choose, okay? I totally respect it. I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're not. You do whatever you want, because I believe in free choice when it comes to stuff like this. And I have 3 shots, 3 Pfizers, boom, boom, boom. That's me, but because I believe in it. But if somebody doesn't or doesn't want to, that's entirely okay with me. Now, when you go in and you talk about applying for jobs, what I would say in these cases is if you are working remotely, or it's likely you're going to be working remotely, I would go ahead anyway. And if an employer says we require people to be vaccinated and you're going to be interacting with them, then I would let them know somewhere in the process that you either are not vaccinated or you don't intend to be vaccinated and you want to get a better understanding of the policy. Okay, now you could be working, and I can't remember where you're located. You could be working in states that require you, or countries, like the U.S. basketball players can't play in Toronto post whatever if they're not vaccinated. Okay, well, that's fine. If you're willing to deal with that stuff, that's cool. Or if you're willing to eliminate that employer as a result. I know people in New York, are dealing with that. So is it worth applying? That's up to you. I'm about the art of the possible. So if it's something or a company that I genuinely want to work for, look, I got news for you. If you think this if you think this virus is going away anytime soon, it isn't. We're going to live with this for a really, really long time. It may be forever. You may be getting shots every year or pills or whatever. This thing isn't going away because a large enough percentage of the worldwide population are not vaccinated. And there's no way this thing's just going to keep perpetuating. It's going to keep mutating. And that's just going to be the way we have to figure out a way to live with it. So I wouldn't be going into these, to Steve's point, I wouldn't be going into these things thinking that, things are going to change. The way we live with it might change and any standards might be relaxed, but I just think this is going to be here for a long time. And you say, I know things could change someday. They will change. We either will get more comfortable living with it, or, it's just, there's going to be a large percentage of the population that will never be vaccinated. That's just the way it is. And no matter what we do or what we think, it's just going to, this is the way it is. So that's okay. We just need to figure out a better way to live with it. You need to figure out, is it something that, is really hurting me? I don't know why, for people have different reasons for not wanting to get it. I don't know what those are, but it's just, these are things you need to think about. But for your question, is it worth applying? I think everything is always worth it when I'm trying, and I think the art of the possible, I always think about the art of the possible, and then I see what happens. And then you'll collect more data, if nothing else. I hope that helps, my friend. I appreciate a lot of you are going through this, and I know it's not easy, but I do appreciate that. Anna Monsalve, is it? I don't know how you pronounce that. But Anna, I love you. Hey to you from Houston. Taj, what's up? Nina International. I have the 4th interview for a job today. Awesome. Several red flags in the process already. Is a bad job in COVID times better than no job? That is the question. Nina, I can never answer that question, meaning your personal situation and your desires, to me, are the overriding factors of the answer to that question. If you can afford not to work and you don't want to take that job, or you feel like you won't be successful in it or you won't enjoy it, then don't. If you are absolutely desperate to put food on the table, while I would love for you to hold out for something better, if you're telling me, Andy, I can't even make my mortgage payment, I'm going to say, as your coach, I want you to do what you need to do, right? So you have to decide that for yourself. It's the only way, really. And I can never simulate the factors that are acting upon you at any moment in time. I would never say you should do this, you should do that. I don't know what's happening in your life. I don't know the way you process things. I don't know a million things about you. But for me, I would always try to help you with the process I would go through to think it through. So I hope that helps. And Linda, and Steve, and Lori, and Rachel. Oh my goodness, here we go. Yes. I must have been answering that question in particular, huge impact. Okay, Nina again, I see that. I mentioned that. Paulette Scott, I'm curious, can the job search program help me get through the VA job opportunities? Absolutely. We have loads of people who work for state governments, municipalities, the federal government in different countries. So yes, resounding yes. All right, let me see, just buzzing through. Grace, I didn't get through an HR screening for a great company. Feedback, great skills and experience, but I didn't show sufficient excitement about working for them. What the heck? I don't know what you did. I don't know what to say. How do I convey more excitement over Zoom? Enough to satisfy a 20-something HR person. So there's a number of things that show enthusiasm and excitement. The way in which you talk about the subject matter matters. Accept that. And Grace, I can't remember which Grace you are. I know you're in the boot camp because I know you're this, but I can't remember if you're in the leadership program. And in the leadership program, we teach you about effective communication and the Albert Morabian formula, right? 7% of the communication is done with the words, which means 93% of the communication is done with your voice and your body language, right? 55 body, the rest is in your tone. So when you are projecting, it has a lot to do with your mannerisms. Are you smiling? You know, a lot of times I'm getting, you guys know me, and I hope you know that, I'm a fun time Andy, right? But when I'm teaching, it's like I gotta be serious sometimes. Like I need this to register, right? You get that, and that takes a little bit of time. Now, in an interview where you got an hour or 30 minutes or 45, and it doesn't, by the way, I don't believe that just because somebody's in their 20s that they can't pick up on your enthusiasm. I think energy is something that we can exude at any age, and it's something that we can interpret correctly at any age. If that person wasn't feeling the vibe from you, it has a lot to do with your ability to communicate your interest in that. So, I mean, it's without watching the tape, so to speak, it's hard for me to say, but it comes from a number of factors, and it comes from your passion and it comes from the evidence that you use to back up why you're passionate about something, and it comes from the physicality of it as well. Adam Stark, what do we got? If we see an advertised position, should we boss hunt first or apply then boss hunt? Boss hunt first, final answer. Also, what if they are like, why are you messaging me when the application is online? Then you respond to them, you obviously are a knucklehead and I don't want to work for you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think, you don't have the boss hunting Bible. Okay, because I give you the scripts here for all these. If they say, why are you messaging me online? If you boss hunted, you told them why you messaged them directly. That's it. And I would just say, as I mentioned in my initial email, your profile, was attractive to me because, and I thought you'd be the kind of person that I'd want to work for, so I just wanted to reach out to you directly or something like that. But yes, boss hunt first, always. Claude, you read it? Quick reference. Oh, thank you so much. And I'm guessing Geraldine is echoing something I would say. Andy, your questions really do work. Steve Thompson got the offer. Buddy, you know how happy I am because when I saw you on the Zoomer on Friday in the leadership program, we were having our fingers crossed. So let me read the rest of this. Your questions do work. Got an offer yesterday, and when I asked what the deciding reason was, awesome question. They said one of the things was I asked really good questions at the end. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. I'm glad you did it. I hope it works out. I hope it was every dollar you were hoping for. And I know you worked the process, buddy. I'm really happy. And I hope everybody, first off, can we give them a hey hey and a congratulations? And also I hope it's one thing for me to say this matters, and I know I have good credibility with most of you, but it's another thing when you all are sharing these things through the chat and to your fellow members of the community here. It's really helpful that they hear from you and that you share with each other and not just the victories but the struggles. But I'm so happy for you, and I hope we all give them big kudos and we learn something from that. Your questions sell you Okay, they get you intelligence so that you can actually make an educated decision, but they also sell you in your readiness and how prepared you are and all that good stuff. So I just love it. I just love it. Let me see where we are. Nina, I think that's the third or fourth time I've seen that question. Kendra, I'm going all Andy on you. That's right. Angela Olson. Great to read your story there, Texas. I enjoyed that yesterday. What was the last book Andy just held up? So wait, I don't have the Out of Reach book with me. This is the Hiring Prophecies. I don't know if you guys know this. This book won a gold award for best business, careers, and sales book of 2015. It beat out like 8,000 books that a committee had to review. And I'm giving it to my leaders signed for a few bucks. And if you want it, you can always get the ebook, or the paperback is a bit cheaper. Maybe it's like $12 on Amazon. But if you want the hardbound signed, right now only the leaders have access to that link, and I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. Launch it. Thank you for that. I just love, I just love this stuff. I really do. Folks, this is so true. Nobody cares. Work harder. But I want you to work. You know that whole I want you to work smart, not hard? No. You need to work smart and hard. Because the person who works smart and hard is not just going to outwork you, they're going to smoke you. Okay? And if you're all efficient and economical with your time, well, think about how awesome you could be if you put more time in. Okay? So, yeah, I love the month. Mark, great to see you. And Anna, what do we got? Will Fio, see you tomorrow. Questions, question marks. Grace, I was asked recently to prep a 1 hour presentation for round 2. That would definitely have taken me out of the funnel. No, because on one day you're going to prep that. On the other days, you're going to make up for it. By the way, if you guys have not seen the video, how to give a presentation in a job interview, it's a really good one. It's free. It's on my YouTube channel. Check it out. Calv, K-A-L-V, best practices on how to find the hiring manager recruiter for the job. So I would look in the company, I would search for talent acquisition, recruitment, recruiter, and those kind of things. I would try to see what their descriptions are in LinkedIn. They will likely say, I recruit for these types of positions. Most recruiters do that, and it should be relatively easy. Okay, this is Rachel. I don't call you out here. This is Rachel, who's kicking butt in Germany. Blood pressure doesn't go up when you feed the funnel. I started to realize what that means finally these days. I am so happy for you because it seems like every day I hear from you, you have more interviews. Awesome. Questions. Here we go. Melomoto. Where would you include skills up? Hey, let's just get this up here. Where would you include skills upkeep or desired skills acquisition in the funnel? That is not in the funnel. That is something completely separate. The funnel, to me, is about the actions you take to move yourself to market, not about your credentials. Do I focus on the funnel only after having said skills? Absolutely not. Technical tests for junior engineering have me concerned. Okay, so a couple things. So philosophically, follow me here. There's like almost 8 billion people in the world and a lot of companies, and those people work for a lot of companies. And again, there are a lot of companies that would be falling all over themselves to have you work for them. Even if you don't have the technology skills, if you've got the analytical and aptitude skills, there are organizations who won't put you through tests. Again, don't, for all of you guys, before, and boot campers, I'm gonna drill this tomorrow. Before you do anything, I'm someone who is searching. I either am unemployed greatly disappointed in my current situation. I want to get the heck out fast. I'm not sure where to go. I'm not sure what to do. Any of those people. You do not go take courses in school, degrees, certifications. Don't open a book. I don't want you to do anything until what? You know where you want to go. You've tried to get there based on how you are. Just hold. You are perfect the way you are right now. What's not perfect is the energy and effort and design you're putting into bringing your perfect self out into the world. So what do? I didn't tell you this in my little boot camp analogy. When I created the product, this is a great analogy for you, Melamoto. When I created the boot camp product and I sold it, guess what? Some people bought it. Not nearly as many as I would have wanted. The first thing I didn't do was what? Drop the price. The next thing I didn't do, I didn't change the program. No, that has never changed. The program has gotten better over time in the natural course of doing things, but the price has never gone down. And you shouldn't be lowering your prices, and you shouldn't be trying to improve your skills until you want to do that for you. You need to be improving the marketing of you and getting in front of people. And yes, you might fall over on some tests. Don't worry, that wasn't for you. Now, if you say to me, no, Andy, my long-term goal is I want to become certified in this blah, blah, blah. And while I'm job searching, I feel like I can add that to my resume and say, I'm pursuing certification in this. Target completion date is June 2022. I'm all good with that. If you're doing it because you have long-term aspirations of knowing that. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to take away time from the marketing of you by going to change you. All right, so you don't do that. Go back to where's my dang card? You don't want to be changing. Oh man, you knew on today I would have so many cards. You want to just stay up here. And in the interactions here, if you fall down because you don't have enough credentials, fine, that wasn't for you. More of these. And then if you say, hey, no, I want to do that, and now is as good a time as any, and you know what, I need a break, I'm job searching all the time, I'm really stressed out, or I really want to do it because it's fun and it makes me feel better. Awesome. And then get in a company, and if you want to go take your PMP certification or your SANS test or your CCNA or whatever, then go do that. But don't think you need to change. You don't. Your marketing of you needs to change. That's what I think. All right. Lena, I sent 30 boss hunting messages and got 4 answers with thank you, but there is not a position available right now. Awesome. You immediately go back to them and start networking with them, okay? And you keep feeding the funnel. You got this. That's right. Well done. That's what I want to see. All right. Arash, in the boss hunting Bible, the tone is learning from the boss and being humble. However, in the interview, I heard that we should behave like we have many offers waiting for us. Which one is okay? Arash, humility, gratitude, joy in the doing are going to be way, way better for you than acting like everybody wants me. And if you have a lot of offers waiting, that's great. And I want you to share that with them in a humble manner, in letting them know how you feel about them and keeping them informed. It's not about leverage. It isn't. That's what I would hope. That's what I would hope you would do. James O'Laughlin, I did say that many, many years ago. The difference between good and great is what you did with your mistake. I have quote cards out there I started writing these quotes 10 years ago. Let's see, what do I got here? Ian, how you doing? Which video is this? I'm not sure which one that was. Steve Thompson, this won't be in the boot camp. This will live on YouTube. Maxim! Ready to start new job search, did all the prep and want to start boss hunt messaging. Shall I start today? Yes, yesterday, you're already behind. You're not overloading anybody. Joy, what do we got? Beside a big muscle there. Andy, a light just went off. Awesome. I had a horrific interview with the recruiter because she asked, what are you looking for? No matter what I said, she wasn't satisfied. I think I had too high standards. What are you looking for? Meaning the position. I want to work in a capacity where I can add value this way. So somebody benefits, somebody improves, somebody so on. Okay. Do you have any positions that you think align to that? Right? Something like that. Roma, yes. Tomorrow's will be available for you and you will be able to watch it. I am accepting questions. I don't ever show up and don't accept questions. Emily, I love your leadership program. The best thing. Folks, and Emily and all the other leaders, just reason enough. Signed copy of one of these. But the LaCivita Leadership Skill Building Pyramid, it's really going to be fun. And I already built you a lot of lessons to help you with the bricks in the pyramid. It's really fun. And Emily, I'm so glad you are in the boot camp and in the leadership program, and I loved working with you last week. Let's see. I think I've answered some of those. Tiffany, will you be covering case studies in an interview anytime soon? Not only soon, but I already did that one. I got a video on case studies and why you should be falling all over yourself to want those in a job interview. So check my YouTube channel, type case study, and it'll pop up. Anna, I loved it. I love reading all that stuff. And you are welcome for getting back to you. So folks, I don't know if you guys know this. You probably heard me slip it in here a few times. When you're in my job search bootcamp, you get a welcome email, and then like the next day you get an email that says, please share this with me. And then they write their emails to me, and I read every single one of them, and I respond back to every single one of them because it helps me get to know them a bit. It tells me what they're struggling with and things they've tried, and it helps me become a better coach as well. And it also, I feel like how could you coach people without really having some idea of them? So I appreciate you, Anna, and everybody else who's in that program, and all of you guys. Let's see. There was a follow-up. Steve Thompson again. Thanks again. When I asked what is the first thing I can do to make your life better, she unloaded with about 5 things that set the tone for everything that followed. When you ask the right questions, life becomes a hell of a lot easier for you and them. All right. Let's see. 12:30. Couple quick announcements. On tomorrow, boot camp. If you're in it, the FANG stuff, what to know, a quick one on how to assess an employer for their accountability, right? Or are they going to blame you for everything? And then the formula to get directed. You get the replay. It's on special for $100 till tomorrow at 11. This is the last session of the year for those folks. You get the recording if you can't make it. On January 6th, we got a live show on where do you see yourself in 5 years. On January 13th, I'm teaching you the leadership pyramid. And on the 14th, with the leadership crew, with the members of that program, we're going to talk about how to build skills, the sequence, and all that other good stuff. So I hope you can make those, and then late January is the mini camp. All right, let me see if I can get a few more questions in here. Shooting Comet 123. I have been offered a job from a New Jersey company, and they are saying that my numbers will be prorated to my local area in Tennessee. How can I negotiate better? Meeting with HR is pending for discussion. Okay, your numbers have nothing to do with where you live. If you got to stand your ground here, okay? If you can't stomach what I'm about, I'm not saying you, but anybody, if you can't stomach what I'm saying, then you got to take what they're giving you, right? But if somebody is going to say to me, Andy, because you live in a rural area that's less expensive than New Jersey, we're going to pay you less. No. The value I create for you makes money for this company. It has nothing to do with where I live. It's the money you put in your pockets. Okay? And then you need to make the argument about what you're worth. It isn't about where you live. It's about what you do for the company. I got the smartest engineer that does the most stuff the fastest, that lives in rural podunk USA, right? Why is that person worth less? Has nothing to do with geography, right? Just like what I pay you has nothing to do with what you want to be paid. It's the value you're going to contribute. You got to lean on that. Check my salary negotiation playlist for that. More on how to make those arguments. ILD, you are welcome for the interview intervention course. It helped me feel more confident. Awesome. I love that. Jeff Comstock, great to see you. And Nancy Letitia, how's my copywriter doing? And Angela, look at all those boot campers right there. I just love that. What is this? I checked my library downloads is the 10-point formula lesson 3. I didn't see, no. The module 1 has a main lesson, Malika, and it has 2 shorter sessions. Those 2 shorter sessions are what I was referring to. Let me see. David Chan does a mock sales presentation. Oh, doing a mock sales presentation tomorrow morning, and I'm following tips from the How to Give a Presentation. Awesome. Feeling confident. Shooting Comet got another question. I have accepted a job 2 weeks ago, and I'm getting another offer with a great role and possibly a great number. How to resign the current job and accept the new one? You just do. Sorry for the inconvenience. Timing was unfortunate. I accepted a new job. So sorry. Straight away. All right, where? High five for Stacy Bootcamper here. Emotions during unemployment can lie to us a bit and require some self-awareness. It does, Ian. James, question. Curious, Andy, what would you say is a good balance of time spent job hunting and farming versus focusing on my craft and skills grow day to day? James, again, great question. Great question. So this is what I look at. What is the top priority? If your top priority is to find a job, then I want you spending all your time on finding the right job for you. If you need, and I'm saying to you, if you feel you need a break, right? Like I'm job searching all day, every day. I need a break to hone my craft, then do that in whatever proportion you want. But I'm telling you that where your energy flows will grow, what you focus on will grow. And if you're focused on, job searching, you're going to find your job faster if you're doing the right things. If you feel that I want to keep my skills sharp, then you do that in whatever proration that you feel is good for you because you need to. I don't look at balance. I feel like I have to do certain things based on priorities, but like for me as a business owner, I schedule in the balance, meaning every single day I work on things that are immediate term, short term meaning, midterm and long term. I work on things that are marketing related, sales related, service related, product development related, like all that's in a day. And all that gets scheduled. And I don't let myself change that because everything is important, right? In the proportion it is at the time it is. Meaning if I don't start working stuff that's due in yesterday morning at 5:30 in the morning, I was working on something that you won't see for 8 weeks, okay? Because I know how much of that needs to be done each week so that in 8 weeks, the magic happens. Okay, so your skills don't need to grow. If you need to find a job, you can grow them while you're there and then figure out how to allocate time in your work week to grow them. That's the way I look at that. But here again, if you need a break, you need to change a pace, right? Then you put it in. That's a great question. Miss Sexy November, that has made my job search harder, the forcing of the magic potion. I just want the best for all you guys. Ian, the network can feel like an audition for a reality show. Any chance you could index the academy so that the content and resources are easier to locate? Well, the resources are in the sequence in which you should work them. So, and there's a search bar inside the system. So if there's a question you have, go into the system and hit the magnifier and type it, and it should come up. We do the best we can based on the system we have and what we think you need. Questions? Cecilia, I can't say this enough times. All interviewers always tell me this is an awesome question. What would be the first thing I could do to make your life easier? That is a question that I want you to ask. Awesome. Tarinia, when an employee, so it's TC, when an employee within a company submits a referral for a non-posted position through the company portal, what is the best way to boss hunt with this? So I'm not sure I understand the question. If you have a friend who's at a company who submits your resume that's going to get routed to a recruiter, I wouldn't do that. I would have the person send it directly to a boss and say, hey, this is my friend, or directly to a recruiter and say, this is my friend, she's interested in working in this area. You could boss hunt, but this is conflicting. I would do one or the other. That's it. But I would tend to try to get my friend to help me and introduce me to the boss some way, somehow. Okay. Kara, how am I doing? I'm trying to get this 4 more minutes. Just looking for questions. Anna, please talk about the psychology behind the boss hunting and networking messages. Often I feel weird sending them. Do these look genuine? Most I have sent get opened, yet I don't get any reply. Okay, so let's start backwards. Just because you sent them and they open them and you don't get a reply doesn't mean they don't work. The place that I would send you to, Anna, there is a networking supplement inside the boot camp. I go through all the psychology of why those messages work. You have a whole session on this where I talk about the emotional trigger points and what generally works whether it's a boss or anybody. That's inside your boot camp. It's inside module 3. And I believe I called that supplemental networking for job seekers, but the psychology is in there. And the other thing is in the Boss Hunting Bible, if you grab that, that's in modules 2 and 3, I believe. You can also get that. But you've got to have some kind of opener that the reason, I'm going to give you one tip here because I'm just thin on time and I want to make sure I get something in for you. The reason the boss hunting works, one of the reasons, is when you are communicating with somebody, okay, people look at the lines and they're like, oh, am I flattering somebody? I don't feel comfortable doing that. That's ridiculous. You're not looking at it the right way. There's priming and framing. Priming moves a person's emotional state to the place you want it. The reason the boss hunting letter opens with that is because I want to move their emotions to a welcoming state, okay? And most people, not all people, most people will respond to that, okay, emotionally. And when you get their emotions in the right spot, what happens? They hear everything differently. Okay, so what they're about to read is now framed, that's the second portion, is you frame it in a manner in which you want them to understand it or the way you want them to see it. Okay, so if I want to, sometimes I might prime you into a negative state. Why would I want to do that? Because I want you to take action. Okay, except in this case, you want to do the opposite. You need them in a positive state of mind so they take action, so they feel compelled to respond to you. Okay, there's so much science behind why the words are the way they are. And I love that question. And I am happy to answer it every week. But know that the sequencing of the language is in terms of why I want them primed the way I want them primed, how I want to frame what I want them to frame. The reason it works is because you have what they need right at the moment. There's a number of things there that are important. All right, let me see. I got to get cracking, but I want Nicholas Huff. Kara's sending me something here. I accepted a job in a new company a project team lead. I have experience in type of role already, but I want to knock it out of the park with the new company. Is the leadership program applicable to this? It is. Simplest way to explain stuff. My job search coaching program is just how it sounds. It's about finding the right job. The leadership program is not just how it sounds, because I want you to grow into a leader. It's not for leaders, it's to build leaders, and it's about everything that you need to do well in your career and live a fulfilled life. So we touch everything from designing your career, developing your career, everything, those foundational skills related to what? Having a great life, being well, communicating effectively, being influential, building relationships, all of those things. And then tactically, how to hire, how to coach people. All that stuff is in the leadership program. And there's over 40 already recorded lessons for you. Those were all done live in front of a live studio, folks, into Zoom or wherever we did it. And there are bonus courses like the Goal Setting Masterclass and the Productivity Challenge if you're in the annual membership. And if you're in the annual membership or the monthly membership, you get the Career Accelerator program. That Career Accelerator program is a $400 separately sold program. It teaches you about your first 90 days and how to crush them, how to prepare for and execute on getting promoted within the first year. It talks about my excellence planning and how to generate great ideas. It talks about organizational skills, and it also talks about performance reviews. So it's a 5-module training program. You get all that. All that stuff is in the leadership program. And if you check out, just go to the Mile Walk Academy and you kind of scroll down to the black and goldish card, you can check out all the details. You can even look inside. You can see the topics we've covered, the major areas, the specific lessons. You can see the bonus courses and how to get them. It's really good. All right, I'm ending on that question and a high note. Y'all, 2020 and 2021 been a bit crazy. I know they have, but I'm so glad whatever happened in your life brought us together. I really am. I really appreciate you. I mean, I really appreciate your attention. I know there's a lot of competition for attention in your life, not just with career coaching and coaches, but also just your husbands and your wives and your spouses and your partners and your whatever, your kids, your friends, everything that competes. And I want you to know you're not alone. You're really not. I'll be here for you, at least not the next couple of weeks if you're not in the premium programs, but I'll be back with you early in January going through a lot of stuff. Keep your eye out on your inbox and your emails. I got some other stuff coming, some motivational stuff coming in the next couple of weeks, and just a whole bunch of great stuff. But I really hope you take advantage of the freemiums, and if you're interested in having me help you on a deeper level, jump into the premiums like the Job Search Coaching Program or my Leadership Coaching Program. I would love to have you, and if you have any questions about anything, support@milewalk.com. All right, you guys, I'll see my boot campers tomorrow, and I'll see the rest of you in your inbox soon, and then again in January live. See ya.